Don't sign that. The pen froze midair. Every head in the glass conference room turned toward her. Arya Clifford stood at the far end of the 20-foot table, one hand braced against the leather chair, the other resting protectively over the curve of her 7 months pregnant belly. Her breathing was steady. Her voice was loud. It cut through the room sharper than the Manhattan wind outside. Justin Clifford, her husband, CEO of Clifford Biotech, slowly lifted his eyes from the contract. "Excuse me," he said, flat and embarrassed. Across from him, Monica Langley smiled without showing teeth. Arya didn't look at her. She kept her eyes on her husband. "Don't sign it." A nervous laugh rippled through 2 board members. Someone cleared his throat. Monica tilted her head, amused. "Arya," Justin said carefully, like he was explaining basic math to a child, "this is a board meeting." "And that," she replied calmly, "is a mistake." Monica leaned back in her tailored ivory suit. "With respect, Justin, perhaps your wife doesn't understand corporate restructuring agreements." Arya finally turned her gaze toward her. "I understand Russian," she said quietly. Silence. Monica's smile flickered, just slightly. Justin frowned. "What does that have to do with anything?" Arya's heart was pounding so hard she could feel it behind her ribs, but she kept her face steady. "Because 20 minutes ago, in the hallway outside this room, you were on the phone," she said, eyes still locked on Monica. "And you said..." She switched languages without warning. "Once he signs, he won't even know what hit him. By the time he figures it out, it'll be too late. The baby won't inherit a thing." The room went dead quiet. Monica's jaw tightened for half a second before she laughed lightly. "I'm sorry, what?" Justin stared at Arya. "What are you talking about?" Arya turned back to him. "The document transfers controlling interest to Langley Strategic Holdings through a shell acquisition. Section 14C, buried under indemnity language, makes you personally liable for debt attached to the subsidiary merger." A board member blinked. "That's not..." "It is," Arya said. "Page 72. Footnote 3. Justin's face flushed red. "You read it." "I always read what you bring home." Monica's expression hardened now. "Justin, this is absurd. She's emotional. She's pregnant. This is exactly why spouses shouldn't sit in executive sessions." There it was. Emotional. Pregnant. Unqualified. The old language. Justin rubbed his temple. "Arya, honey, you don't understand the financing structures here." Arya felt something inside her chest crack, not loudly, but permanently. "I understand that you're about to sign away voting control of the company your father built," she said. "And when the debt defaults, and it will, you'll be the only one legally exposed." Monica laughed again, sharper this time. "Justin, this is embarrassing." She's clearly misinterpreting something she overheard. Arya stepped closer to the table. "Say it again," she said softly. Monica blinked. "What?" "In Russian. The part about him not knowing what hit him." Monica's composure slipped. "I have no idea what you're talking about." Arya didn't raise her voice. "You said, 'He trusts me.' Men like him always do." Justin's hand tightened around the pen. "Enough," he snapped. "This is not the place." Arya looked at him, really looked at him. For 2 years she had played the supportive wife. The woman who left her consulting job. The woman who hosted charity dinners. The woman who smiled when Monica stayed late for strategy sessions. The naive wife. "Justin," she said quietly, "if you sign that document, you will lose this company. And when you do, she won't be standing next to you." Monica scoffed. "You're being paranoid." Arya turned to the board. "Ask for a 24-hour review. Bring in independent counsel. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize publicly." Justin stood up abruptly. "You're out of line." "Am I?" she whispered. He walked around the table toward her, lowering his voice. You're humiliating me. Her eyes shimmered, but not with weakness. I'm trying to save you. He leaned closer. You have no background in corporate law. You left the industry years ago. You don't get to walk in here and pretend you're suddenly an analyst because you overheard something. Monica added sweetly, some women struggle when they feel displaced. That hit. The moment you're reduced to insecurity instead of insight. If you've ever been spoken over in a meeting. If you've ever been told you were too emotional to understand numbers. If you've ever watched a younger woman weaponize charm while you were called unstable. You know that feeling. Arya straightened her spine. I'm not displaced, she said evenly. I'm being replaced. Justin exhaled sharply. Enough. This deal closes today. He turned back toward the table. Arya felt the baby kick hard against her ribs. As if protesting. Justin, she said one last time. He didn't look at her. Monica slid the pen toward him. Trust me, she murmured. He signed. The scratch of ink against paper sounded louder than thunder. And just like that, it was done. Arya didn't cry. She didn't scream. She simply watched Monica's eyes. There it was. Victory. Not affection. Not partnership. Calculation. Justin pushed the document forward. There. Happy. Monica stood smoothly. Very. She extended her hand to Justin. Welcome to the future. Arya felt something shift in the room. Not visibly. Not yet. But she saw the flicker in Monica's assistant's eyes by the door. Fear. Monica gathered her folder. Justin, I'll have legal initiate the ownership transfer by morning. Transfer. So fast. Arya's stomach tightened. Justin turned to his wife, exhausted. You owe Monica an apology. Arya looked at him for a long moment. I owe her nothing. Monica's smile sharpened. This outburst won't age well. Arya stepped closer, close enough that only Monica could hear her. You underestimated two things, she whispered. Monica's breath hitched. My education, Arya said softly. And my patience. Monica recovered quickly. You're making a mistake. Arya's lips curved faintly. No, she said. He is. Justin's phone buzzed. He glanced down. His face drained of color. What? Monica asked. Justin's hand trembled slightly. The bank just flagged an unusual authorization, he muttered. Why would Langley Holdings have provisional access already? Monica froze. Just for a second. Arya saw it. That microsecond of panic. Justin looked up slowly. Why, he repeated. Would they already have access? Monica's composure cracked. It's procedural. Before final ratification, one board member asked. Justin turned to Arya. She didn't smirk. She didn't gloat. She simply said, Footnote 3. The room shifted. Monica snapped. This is ridiculous. Justin, don't let paranoia derail this. Justin's phone buzzed again. Another alert. His CFO stood abruptly. Justin, the secondary credit line has been frozen. Silence. Justin's breathing grew shallow. Monica stepped back. Justin, I can explain. Explain what? He demanded. Arya felt a strange calm settle over her. The kind women develop after years of swallowing doubt. Explain, she said softly, why the trap was already set. Monica's assistant suddenly bolted from the room. Justin looked at Monica like he was seeing her for the first time. You said we had weeks before transfer, he said slowly. Monica's voice lost its smoothness. Its standard acceleration language. No, Arya said. It's a takeover. Justin staggered back into his chair. The room erupted in overlapping voices. Monica grabbed her folder. This conversation is over. Arya stepped in front of her. It's just beginning, Monica hissed. You think you've won? Arya leaned closer. You said in Russian that men like him always trust you. Monica's eyes widened. Arya's voice dropped to a whisper. You forgot that some women listen. Monica shoved past her and stormed out. Justin sat frozen. The empire his father built trembling beneath him. He looked up at his wife. For the first time, not dismissing. Not patronizing. Afraid. Arya, he said hoarsely. She placed her hand over her belly. This isn't over, she said quietly. And then her own phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. A familiar male voice spoke calmly on the other end. Arya, we've confirmed Langley's offshore accounts. Do you want us to proceed? Justin's head snapped toward her. Her face didn't change. Yes, she said softly. Pause. Activate Phase 2. Justin stared at her like he didn't know her at all. Phase 2, he whispered. Arya met his eyes. You should have listened, she said. And if you've ever been dismissed, if you've ever warned someone who laughed at you, if you've ever swallowed the words, I told you so, while watching disaster unfold, subscribe, you already know what's coming next. Justin just realized the woman he called naive has been 3 steps ahead this entire time. And the real question isn't whether he signed the wrong document. It's who Arya Clifford really is. And why she was prepared for this before Monica ever walked into his life. Justin didn't sleep. By 6:12 a.m., Clifford Biotech's primary operating account was frozen. He found out the way most powerful men do, through a notification they don't understand. Temporary administrative hold pending verification. He read it twice. Then a third time. That's impossible, he muttered. Arya stood at the kitchen island, barefoot, one hand wrapped around a mug of ginger tea, the other steady against her stomach. Morning light poured across the marble counters. It should have felt like an ordinary weekday. It didn't. What does it say? She asked quietly. Justin dragged a hand through his hair. It's procedural. Just compliance. We moved capital yesterday. Before final ratification, she asked. He shot her a look. Don't start. She didn't flinch. I'm not starting, she said softly. I'm watching. His phone buzzed again. Then again. CFO. Legal. 2 board members. He answered on speaker without meaning to. Justin, the credit line has been frozen too, the CFO said, voice tight. Langley Strategic initiated accelerated transfer documentation overnight. They're claiming controlling interest. That's not finalized, Justin snapped. Apparently it is under the provisional clause you signed. Silence. Arya didn't move. Justin felt something cold crawl up his spine. That clause wasn't active yet. It was contingent on signature, the CFO replied. You signed. The call ended. Justin slowly lowered the phone. Arya set her mug down carefully. Page 72, she said. Stop, he barked. You don't get to be right like this. She inhaled slowly, steadying herself against the sudden rush of nausea that came with both pregnancy and stress. I never wanted to be right, she said. His phone buzzed again. This time it was a text. From Monica. We need to talk. Privately. Justin stared at the screen. Arya watched his face. He still wanted to believe her. That's what hurt. He grabbed his suit jacket. I'm going to the office. You mean what's left of it, she said gently. He paused at the door. This is temporary. Her voice didn't rise. Justin, if you walk into that building today thinking she's still your partner, you're walking in alone. He left anyway. The lobby of Clifford Biotech was chaos. Reporters had already gathered outside. Is it true Langley Strategic acquired majority control overnight? Are you stepping down as CEO? Was this hostile? Justin ignored them and pushed through security. Monica was waiting in the executive conference room. Alone. She looked composed, polished, untouched. "Justin," she said softly, like nothing had happened. "What did you do?" he demanded. She folded her hands neatly. "I executed a business agreement." "You accelerated transfer before ratification." She tilted her head. The language allowed it. "You told me we had weeks. I told you what you needed to hear to stay confident." That sentence landed heavier than anything else. Justin stared at her. "You lied." Monica didn't blink. "I optimized." He felt sick. "You've locked my company's capital." "Our company," she corrected. He laughed bitterly. "You don't even hide it now." She stood slowly. "Justin, you were going to lose market share within 18 months. The FDA inquiry alone." "What FDA inquiry?" Monica's eyes flickered. He felt it before he understood it. "What inquiry?" he repeated. She hesitated half a second too long. "The regulatory review on your secondary lab," she said coolly. "That was closed 6 months ago." "Not entirely." His pulse spiked. She walked closer. "There were irregularities in the 2019 trial data. Minor, but exploitable." Justin's mouth went dry. "You wouldn't." She met his gaze evenly. "You signed." And that's when it hit him. She hadn't just trapped him financially. She had leverage. Real-world leverage. Regulatory. Federal. Career-ending. "You'd destroy the company," he whispered. "I'd restructure it," she replied calmly. "With or without you. If you've ever trusted someone in business. If you've ever believed a partnership was built on mutual respect. And realized too late you were just the stepping stone. You know that hollow feeling Justin felt right then. He wasn't betrayed by a stranger. He was betrayed by someone he defended. His phone buzzed again. Arya. He almost didn't answer. He did. "Yes. Have you checked the SEC filing timestamp?" she asked. "What?" "Look at it." He pulled up the document. Filed 11:58 p.m. 2 minutes before midnight. Before the board ratification window. His stomach flipped. "They filed before confirmation," he said slowly. Monica stiffened. "That's impossible," she snapped. Arya's voice was calm on the other end. "It's not. I pulled it this morning." Justin looked up at Monica. "Why would you file before ratification?" She didn't answer. His heart began pounding. You needed the timestamp, he realized. For something else. Monica's composure cracked. "Justin," she said, sharper now, "don't let her manipulate you." "She didn't manipulate anything," he shot back. "She read." His phone beeped again. Another alert. Clifford Biotech stock was plummeting. Down 12% in pre-market trading. Monica's jaw tightened. Market correction. "No," Justin said quietly. "Market panic." He stared at her. "You leaked it." She didn't deny it. "Pressure forces adaptation," she said coolly. "And you," he said slowly, "are trying to force me out." Monica stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Sign the secondary transfer. Step down publicly. I'll make sure the investigation never becomes formal." The room went silent. Blackmail. Clean. Corporate. Polished. Justin felt the full weight of his mistake. He thought of Arya. Of her standing in that boardroom. Of her saying don't sign. He had chosen ego. And now someone was holding his company, and his freedom, over his head. Back home, Arya sat at the dining table surrounded by paperwork. Not frantic. Focused. Her laptop displayed financial statements most people wouldn't understand. She had never stopped understanding them. She just stopped announcing it. Her phone buzzed. Justin. She answered. Arya, he said quietly. She's threatening regulatory exposure. 2019 trial, she asked. Silence. How do you know that? Because, Arya said gently, I audited that division before I married you. He sat down slowly in the conference room chair. You what? I never left the industry, Justin. I stepped back from visibility. Her voice was steady. I flagged those irregularities. Quietly. They were corrected. Monica had dug up old noise to create fear. Why didn't you tell me? He whispered. You didn't ask. That one hurt. Justin swallowed hard. She's offering to bury it if I step down. Arya closed her laptop slowly. Do you want to know the real twist? She asked. His breath caught. What? She can't bury it. Silence. She doesn't control the regulatory board, Arya continued. But someone else does. Justin's pulse quickened. Who? Arya's voice dropped slightly. My father. Dead silence. Justin felt the room tilt. Your father? The one you said cut you off? He did. For running away from the family business. Yes. And that business is. Arya exhaled slowly. Clifford Regulatory Consulting. Justin's head snapped up. The same firm that audited biotech compliance nationwide. The same firm that Monica feared. The same firm that could shut down any investigation with one clarification. You're telling me, Justin whispered, that your father controls the oversight board reviewing my company? Yes. And you never listened, she said softly. Silence flooded the line. Justin's mind raced. Why are you helping me? He asked finally. Arya's hand rested over her belly. For our child, she said. Not for you. For our child. That distinction burned. Justin stood up slowly. Monica was watching him, reading his expression. Justin, she said sharply. He looked at her with something new in his eyes. Not trust. Not fear. Recognition. You miscalculated, he said quietly. Monica frowned. About what? Her. Monica's confidence wavered. Justin picked up his phone again. Arya, he said steadily. What's phase 2? There was a pause. Long enough to feel deliberate. Then she answered. Phase 2, she said softly, is when the woman you underestimated stops protecting you from your own pride. Justin felt the shift fully now. He had married someone he thought needed saving. Instead, she had been shielding him. Monica stepped back slightly. What did she say? She demanded. Justin met her eyes. She said you filed too early. Monica's face drained of color. Outside, reporters began shouting louder. Stock down 20%. Emergency board meeting called. And Justin finally understood. He hadn't just signed a document. He had triggered a war. And the woman he dismissed wasn't the one losing. Arya hung up the phone and looked at the city skyline through the window. Her phone buzzed again. This time from her father. 3 words. Are you ready? She stared at the message. Then slowly typed back. It's time. And if you've ever been told you were naive, if you've ever been laughed at in your own marriage, if you've ever warned someone and watched them ignore you, ask yourself something. When you finally stopped begging to be heard, what happened next? Because Monica Langley just realized she isn't fighting a pregnant wife. She's fighting a legacy. And she has no idea what that legacy is capable of. The boardroom smelled of panic. Phones buzzed incessantly, muted alerts piercing the tense silence like needles. Justin Clifford sat rigid in the middle of the long oak table, papers scattered around him like fallen soldiers. Clifford Biotech's bank accounts weren't just frozen, they were paralyzed. Every operational account, every credit line, every investment portfolio, halted overnight. His empire, meticulously built over 20 years, had been locked down in a single, silent stroke. Arya stood beside him, calm, almost eerily composed. Her hands rested lightly on her belly, as if the tiny life within her gave her clarity instead of fear. Justin ran a hand down his face, voice cracking slightly. "We're done. It's all over. I've lost everything." She shook her head. "No. You've only lost control. Not everything. Not yet." His gaze snapped to her. "What do you mean?" "The banks won't release a dime. Investors are panicking. The stock is in freefall. I signed that contract." "I've..." "Exactly," she interrupted softly. "You signed it. And that's what made her overconfident. Monica thinks she's won. But she didn't account for something real." He scowled. "Something real?" "She controls the accounts. She has the leverage. She can bury us under compliance violations and margin calls and lawsuits before lunch." Arya's eyes flared. "Yes. But she didn't count on your wife knowing exactly which laws apply. And which loopholes don't." Justin froze. You prepared for this?" "Years of preparation," she said, voice steady. "I didn't quit when I walked away from corporate law. I just went undercover. Learned what you'd never expect. Watched the moves people like Monica make. And I've been waiting for the moment she'd underestimate me." A voice on the speakerphone cut through the tension. The CFO. Pale. Panicked. "Justin." "Arya. The SEC just flagged an accelerated transfer. They want a full audit of Clifford Biotech by morning. They're saying the provisional access used by Langley Strategic was irregular." Justin felt his stomach twist. "Irregular? I thought..." "Exactly," Arya interrupted. "Exactly what I said. It was procedural, yes. But you see, Monica filed the transfer before ratification to push you into panic. She wanted you to act irrationally." The room seemed to tilt. Justin's mind raced. Every step he had thought he controlled had already been mapped by her. By Arya. Monica appeared on the conference room screen via video call. Smug, flawless, confident. "Justin, it's simple. Step down. Sign over secondary control. You save face, maybe a fraction of your company. Or you fight, and you risk everything." Justin opened his mouth to respond, but Arya held up a hand. "Don't answer," she said. Her tone wasn't harsh. It was steel. Monica's expression faltered slightly, noticing the shift. "Who is this woman really?" she muttered under her breath. Arya smiled faintly, almost imperceptibly. "The one you underestimated." The phone buzzed again. Arya tapped the screen, bringing up a secure channel she had set up months ago. Another alert. Another chess piece moving into place. Justin leaned in. "What is that?" "Your investors' protective accounts," she said. "I set up contingencies in case Monica tried something like this. Banks and compliance firms are already on alert. Any attempt to transfer assets without proper authorization triggers a freeze. That's why nothing has moved outside her control window." Monica's smile turned brittle. She realized her timing had been predicted, her leverage neutralized. Justin finally understood. "You planned for this entire scenario?" Arya's eyes softened briefly, a flicker of exhaustion passing over her face. "I planned for the kind of people who think love blinds judgment. I planned for greed. And I planned for you." Justin swallowed, his chest tight. I thought you were naive. You thought I'd be invisible," Arya said. "You thought pregnancy and absence from corporate life made me helpless. You forgot that intelligence, experience, and determination don't disappear because someone steps back." Justin's throat tightened. I can't believe I doubted you." Outside the room, phones buzzed, reporters screamed into microphones, and investors demanded answers. Yet Arya's calm radiated across the chaos. Monica's voice cracked on the screen. You can't possibly have everything set up. Arya leaned forward. Watch me. Justin's heart raced. He realized that he had been handed back control, not by luck, but by the woman he'd overlooked. The same woman he had mocked, ignored, and underestimated. Monica's assistant suddenly appeared at the door, flustered. Ma'am, there's a problem. The banks, they're saying your signatures aren't valid. Something's preventing transfers. Monica's face paled. The confident, untouchable villain he had known faltered. Justin turned to Arya. How did you? I told you, she said softly. Years of learning what people like her take for granted. I made sure every contingency you never considered would protect us. And Justin, she placed her hand over his. If we don't act now, she might try something else. There are other ways to manipulate this. Timing is everything. He nodded, panic and admiration colliding inside him. Then what do we do? She pulled up a secure conference line, her fingers flying over the keyboard. We fight. But not the way she expects. We fight smart, legally, and strategically. We expose every move she's made while making it look like her own mistakes. Justin's jaw dropped. You're brilliant. She didn't smile. I'm protecting what matters. For the company. For our child. And for you. Because someone has to stop people like her from getting away with this. The phone beeped again. Arya's eyes flicked to it. Her hand tightened over her belly instinctively. Justin's voice dropped to a whisper. Who is it? Arya didn't answer at first. She read the message, then slowly looked up. Phase 2 has begun. Monica froze on the screen, her confidence collapsing. Justin's hands shook. What's Phase 2? Arya leaned closer. Phase 2, she said softly, is when the woman you thought you could control reveals she's been controlling everything behind the scenes, and you realize she's been 3 steps ahead the whole time. The stock tickers outside the office blinked red. Investors called, shouting, panicking. The SEC alert emails piled up. Monica's voice cracked again. You can't. You don't have the authority. Arya's calm became a storm. You never had it. Not really. Justin's chest tightened. He realized fully, finally, what he'd risked. The woman he mocked, the one he thought was naive and uneducated, had saved not just the company, but him and their child's future, in one quiet, deadly masterstroke. And the cruel truth hit him like a freight train. If he hadn't listened, if he hadn't paused for even 1 second, he would have lost everything. Monica's eyes widened in terror. She had underestimated her opponent. Completely. Justin turned to Arya. His voice low, shaken. I owe you everything. She gave him a long, measured look. You owed me respect first. You never gave me that. I'm still deciding if you deserve more. Her phone buzzed again. Another alert. Justin's heart sank. What now? Arya smiled faintly, almost imperceptibly, the calm before the storm. Now, she said, we make them pay for underestimating a woman who knows exactly what she's doing. Outside the glass walls of Clifford Biotech, the city moved on, unaware that a corporate storm was unfolding that would rewrite legacies, crush egos, and leave Monica Langley reeling. Justin realized in that moment, the child she carried wasn't just his child, it was the heir to the only thing that had saved him from ruin. And then Arya's phone rang again. This time, the caller ID read, Federal Compliance Unit. She answered. The calm, controlled voice on the other end said, we need to speak about irregular filings, immediately. Arya's lips curved faintly. Justin gripped her hand, heart hammering. Ready for this? He asked. She nodded. Always, she said. The screen on Monica's video call flickered. Her hands shook as she realized her plan was unraveling in real time. The boardroom went silent except for the hum of computers and the faint city noise outside. Justin swallowed hard. And then, In a voice barely audible, Arya said. "Welcome to Phase 2, Justin. And it's about to get very personal." The banks were frozen. The stock was tanking. Monica had no leverage. And Clifford Biotech's fate rested entirely in the hands of the woman they all thought was naive. The room smelled of fear. Monica's face was pale under the fluorescent lights, her perfectly styled hair now slightly askew as if the universe itself had begun undoing her control. She stood at the head of the conference table, outside counsel flanking her, but even they seemed uncertain. No amount of law degrees could shield her from the storm Arya had unleashed. Justin sat stiffly beside her on the call, watching as Arya's fingers moved across her laptop like a conductor leading an orchestra no one else could hear. The Federal Compliance Unit was already on the line, plus 3 major banks, and multiple regulatory firms. All the entities Monica had tried to manipulate were now listening to Arya. Every word, every documented misstep she had tried to bury, was being exposed in real time. "Ms. Langley." Arya's voice was calm but sharp enough to cut glass. "Your filings from the last 2 quarters were inconsistent with federal reporting standards. And yes, the accelerated transfer you executed without board ratification was flagged immediately upon submission. Do you have an explanation?" Monica's jaw tightened. She opened her mouth, paused, swallowed, and then tried. There must be a clerical error." Arya didn't flinch. Clerical errors don't involve falsifying timestamps and backdating authorizations to create panic. You did this deliberately to gain control. Justin felt his pulse spike. Arya wasn't just protecting him. She was dismantling Monica publicly. And it was brutal. A social media alert pinged. Arya's hand hovered over the trackpad. "I've already sent the compiled evidence to Bloomberg, Reuters, and the Wall Street Journal. It's public now." Justin turned to see Monica's screen face flicker with new notifications. Her face drained of color as every outlet began reporting her mismanagement, unauthorized transfers, and suspicious manipulation within hours. Her smirk vanished. The air conditioning seemed to freeze around her. "You've done this, socially?" Monica's voice trembled. "Corporate actions have consequences beyond the boardroom," Arya said, calm but venomous. "And public trust is more fragile than you ever imagined." Justin swallowed hard. He could feel the humiliation radiating from the screen. Monica Langley, the woman who had mocked, manipulated, and controlled everyone in her orbit, was now being dismantled in the court of public opinion, live. Outside, investors were calling in, their panic measurable by the red flash of stock tickers. Justin's own phone rang constantly, but Arya kept her hand lightly on his shoulder. "Focus. Not panic. We're still in control here. Let her reaction dictate her next move, not ours." Monica's assistant whispered urgently. "We need to issue a statement." "Too late," Arya said softly. "The narrative has already moved." Justin felt a pang of satisfaction, not for cruelty, but for justice. Years of manipulation, condescension, and betrayal were being exposed not with shouting or threats, but with truth. Monica's hands shook as she tried to craft a public response, but it was already viral. Social media feeds lit up with news of her corporate misdeeds. Influential business journalists dissected her filings in real time. Every follower she had in corporate circles saw the cracks. Her image, meticulously curated for decades, was dissolving by the minute. Justin leaned closer to Arya. This is more than I imagined. You've humiliated her publicly. She'll never recover socially or professionally." Arya looked down at her laptop, face unreadable. She underestimated one thing. People remember the truth. And sometimes, when someone ignores warnings, everyone sees the consequences. Let this be a lesson to anyone who thinks power gives them immunity. Justin's chest tightened. He realized fully now that the woman beside him wasn't just brilliant, she was fearless. She had taken the most ruthless woman in the room and turned her own arrogance against her. Suddenly, a new alert appeared on Arya's screen. Another publication had picked up Monica's filing irregularities, and this one included personal communications that suggested bribery and collusion within regulatory circles. Monica gasped. That can't be. Yes, Arya said, voice low and controlled. It can. And it is. Justin watched as Monica's hands gripped the edge of the table. The same woman who had tried to control him, his company, and his future was now collapsing under the weight of her own deceit. You think this is just corporate? Arya continued, eyes hard. Think again. Every trust you've broken socially, every alliance you've undermined, every whisper you've used to manipulate perception, exposed. People will remember who you are now. Not the image you created, but the truth you hid. The silence in the room was deafening. Even Monica's external counsel seemed frozen. No strategy could protect her now. Every miscalculation she had made was public, social, and irreversible. Justin finally spoke, voice trembling. Arya. This is perfect. You didn't just protect the company. You exposed her for who she really is. Arya's lips pressed into a thin line. Not just for the company. For every person she's ever made feel small, ignored, or powerless. People like us. Justin. People like every employee, investor, or client she belittled. The world needs to see that her manipulation comes with consequences. Justin's throat tightened. She's going to fight back. She'll try something else. Arya leaned forward, hand now resting over her stomach. Let her try. Because while she's panicking, scrambling to salvage her reputation, we're already 3 moves ahead. Justin glanced at the red stock tickers outside. The press feeds. The emails flooding inboxes across the firm. The public humiliation was only beginning, but he realized something even more powerful. Arya had turned what could have been their greatest vulnerability, their visibility, their exposure, to their greatest weapon. Monica's face was a mask of fury, fear, and disbelief. The social and corporate world was watching. And she had nowhere to hide. Justin finally understood the depth of his wife's power. She's unstoppable. Arya's eyes softened slightly as she touched his hand. Not unstoppable. Just prepared. And sometimes preparation is enough. Monica suddenly slammed her laptop closed, rising abruptly. This isn't over, she spat, her voice echoing in the boardroom. You'll regret this. Justin's voice was steady, a whisper carrying more weight than any shout. We'll see about that. The door clicked behind Monica as she stormed out. Justin exhaled, a mix of relief and tension coiling in his chest. Arya turned to him, calm again. Justin, this is only the beginning. You don't just reclaim a company or a life by reacting. You reclaim it by anticipating. And now she knows she can't anticipate us. The office phone buzzed. Another SEC alert. Another bank verification. Another investor inquiry. The world outside was a storm, but inside, for the first time in weeks, Justin felt aligned. Until Arya's phone vibrated again. She read it, her expression hardening. Justin noticed the single line of text on her screen. Phase 3 is live. Are you ready? Justin's heart sank. He looked at her wide-eyed. Phase 3. Arya's lips curved in a faint, almost imperceptible smile. Monica thinks this is about her. She's about to find out it's about everything she ever underestimated. And she'll regret the day she ignored a warning. Outside the building, the city moved on, unaware that a woman who had been dismissed as naive was orchestrating a corporate takedown while protecting the life of her unborn child. And Monica? She was about to learn a lesson in consequences the hard way. Because in the world of power, respect isn't given. It's earned. And sometimes, it's reclaimed. The elevator doors closed with a metallic sigh, and Justin felt the weight of every misstep he'd ever made pressing against his chest. Arya's hand rested lightly on his arm, steadying him, but he knew her calm was deliberate. She had already anticipated the storm inside the building. The office floor felt too quiet, the kind of quiet that precedes revelation, the kind of quiet that made walls sweat secrets. "Justin," Arya said softly, "we're not just exposing Monica's mistakes. We're exposing the system she thought protected her." He frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" She tapped her laptop, opening a folder labeled simply, Clifford Biotech Contingency, Hidden Ledger. Justin's eyes widened at the title. He had never seen it. "I've kept a record of every irregularity, every off-the-books transaction, every whisper of corruption I could find inside your company, and some outside it," she explained. "The banks froze accounts because of what's in here. Not just Monica's greed, but the skeletons everyone hoped would stay buried." Justin's breath hitched. You've been tracking all of this?" "Yes," she said, voice steady but hard. "Not because I wanted to humiliate you, or make you feel powerless. Because I've learned the hard way what happens when people ignore red flags. When people think love blinds judgment, or loyalty makes them naive. I couldn't let that happen to us." He swallowed hard, realizing for the first time that the woman he had underestimated, mocked, was not just brilliant but relentless. Every transaction she had logged, every suspicious signature she'd flagged, and every piece of insider knowledge had been placed here, meticulously, silently, while he assumed she was nothing. Justin exhaled sharply. You've been preparing for years?" Arya's lips curved faintly. "Years. And now we act." The phone buzzed. An urgent email from the SEC blinked red. Arya opened it. Monica's team just tried to access restricted accounts. The attempt triggered the full audit. She's panicking. And it's visible. The press is already picking it up. This is where the ledger becomes dangerous for her. Justin's jaw dropped. "Dangerous?" "Yes," Arya said softly. "Because it's not just about the company. It's about her credibility, her alliances, the people she counted on to protect her. The ledger shows every off-the-book deal, every kickback, every misrepresentation she orchestrated. If this becomes public..." Justin's stomach tightened. "It will ruin her." "More than that," Arya said. "It will reveal who she truly is. The woman you thought was untouchable in the eyes of corporate law and social trust, will be seen for what she is. Someone who uses people, manipulates systems, and underestimates the ones she should fear the most." Justin swallowed, feeling a mixture of awe and fear. "And me?" Arya glanced at him. You're lucky I love you. I'm not just protecting your company. I'm protecting your future. And our child's future." Justin's chest constricted. He realized fully now that he had not only underestimated her, he had taken her for granted. He had mocked her, ignored her warnings, laughed at her supposed naivety, and she had orchestrated the defense and counterattack of a lifetime. The office door swung open abruptly. Monica stormed in, her heels clicking against the polished floors. Her face was pale, lips pressed tight, and every movement screamed panic disguised as aggression. "You," she hissed, eyes darting between Justin and Arya. "You think you can destroy me?" Arya's gaze was unwavering. "No, Monica. You destroyed yourself the moment you underestimated the people around you. And yes, Justin. Especially him." Monica's hand moved to her bag, but Arya's fingers tapped the laptop. Instantly, the hidden ledger flashed across the conference screen behind Monica. Every off-the-books deal. Every unauthorized transaction. Every bribe, every collusion, every moment of deceit carefully documented. Monica's eyes widened, then narrowed. That's impossible." Arya leaned forward. "Impossible is just what you tell yourself to sleep at night. This," she gestured to the ledger, "is preparation, intelligence, and courage. Things you will never understand." Justin's heart pounded. He realized how close he had come to losing everything. Not just the company, but his reputation, his child's security, and his life's work, because he had trusted the wrong person and ignored the right one. Monica tried to snatch the laptop. Arya's eyes hardened. Step back. Every attempt you make is already anticipated. You've been exposed to the public, your employees, and regulators. Every ally you counted on now knows your methods. You're finished socially, professionally, and legally. And I've just begun. Monica's voice trembled. You're a spy? Arya's lips curved faintly. Not a spy. Someone smarter than you thought. Someone who protects the people she loves while making sure people like you can't hurt them. And yes, I hid in plain sight. You thought I was naive, weak, and uneducated. You were wrong. The room seemed to shift. Justin finally understood fully. His wife was not just protecting their lives. She was rewriting the entire landscape of corporate power, exposing greed, and defending what was right. Monica stumbled back, panic overtaking her carefully constructed poise. This can't be real. It's very real, Arya said, voice low and lethal. And the public sees it now. Every one of your manipulations, every dirty deal, every lie. It's all coming to light. You underestimated the wrong woman, Monica. And now. She paused, letting the weight settle. Now it's your turn to panic. Justin felt a swell of pride, fear, and awe. His wife, the woman he had once ignored, was unstoppable, prepared, and fearless. The hidden ledger wasn't just evidence. It was the weapon she had been quietly forging for years. Monica's assistant whispered something. Her voice broke. Ma'am. SEC is calling. Investors are panicking, media is. Arya didn't wait. Let them call. Let them panic. The system has finally caught up to your arrogance. Justin's pulse raced. Arya. They'll come after you next, won't they? She touched his hand, reassuring him. Then we'll be ready. Just like we planned. Monica backed toward the door, trembling. You can't. Watch us, Arya said, soft but deadly. Because the woman you mocked has been 3 steps ahead since day one. Monica had just realized the magnitude of the hidden ledger, her control shattered publicly, socially, and legally. But Arya's next move was already in motion, and Justin's life, company, and the future of their child were about to escalate into a high-stakes battle Monica had never imagined. And in that moment, Justin understood the harsh truth. Underestimating someone because they are quiet, or pregnant, or seemingly powerless, can be the biggest mistake of your life. Justin stared at the skyline through the floor-to-ceiling windows of their temporary war room, his hands clenched tight on the glass ledge. Arya's laptop pinged again, notifications piling up like a storm warning. Every attempt Monica had made to regain control, her frantic emails, her back-channel calls to investors, even her media smear campaigns, was crumbling under the weight of Arya's intelligence. Justin, listen, Arya said, voice calm but commanding. Monica thinks she's going to recover by buying influence and loyalty. But she's already lost both. Now, it's time to take the initiative. He looked at her, chest tight. What do you mean? She opened a new set of documents, labeled, Strategic Acquisition, Phase 4. We're not waiting for her to strike. We're taking the company in a direction she can't anticipate. Every investor she's courting, every partner she's trying to manipulate, she won't know it's already under our control. Justin swallowed. We're counterattacking? In business terms. Yes. But this is more than business, Arya said. It's about reclaiming trust, reputation, and future security. Monica has been operating with fear as her currency. It's time we turn that around. By the time Monica realized the depth of Arya's strategy, Justin and Arya had quietly secured several key partnerships and contracts. Major clients she thought were loyal to her, high-profile investors who had been swayed by her charm, were now committed to Justin's vision. Her phone calls went unanswered. Her emails bounced. Her influence was evaporating in real time. Monica slammed her fist on her polished desk at home, the sound echoing like the last desperate drumbeat of a sinking ship. She tried one last tactic, offering insider information to a rival company to destabilize Justin's firm. She sent a message coded with subtle threats and promises of insider deals. But when she logged into her account to check, every transaction she tried to initiate was blocked. Every insider she hoped would help her was already loyal to Justin. Justin felt a thrill of disbelief. He had underestimated Arya again, not as a strategist, but as a force of nature. How did you? Arya smiled faintly, her fingers flying across the keyboard. Years of observation, understanding the psychology of power. Monica always underestimated people she thought were weak, quiet, or naive. That was her mistake. She still hasn't learned. Justin exhaled. He realized fully that the woman beside him had orchestrated every detail, anticipating not just Monica's moves, but the chain reactions that would ripple through the business world. Suddenly, the phone rang. Justin glanced at the screen. Bloomberg News alert. Monica Langley attempted hostile takeover fails. Investors pull back. Justin froze. They're reporting it already? Arya's eyes were sharp. Yes. And it's just the beginning. Public perception now aligns with the truth. Monica's credibility is crumbling faster than she can react. And because of the strategic moves we've made, she can't retaliate without exposing herself further. Justin's stomach tightened as he watched stock tickers fluctuate, news alerts pop up, and social media threads fill with discussion about Monica's failed schemes. His pulse raced, but he knew one thing clearly. Arya had shifted the battlefield from panic to control, from reaction to counterattack. He looked at her, all mixed with fear. This is brilliant. But she won't just accept it. She'll fight back. Arya's lips curved faintly. Let her try. Every action she takes now will be anticipated, mapped, and countered. The difference is, we're playing 3 steps ahead. She thinks she controls the game. She doesn't. Justin nodded, but then a new alert flashed on Arya's screen. His heart skipped a beat. What is it? He asked. Arya's eyes narrowed. She's calling in external auditors, people she hasn't tried to bribe yet. She's desperate. But desperation can be dangerous. Justin swallowed. Dangerous for us or for her? Arya's fingers hovered over the trackpad. Both. If we're not careful, she could trigger regulatory scrutiny that affects the company. But if we play this right, she'll implode spectacularly. Justin realized fully now. The woman he had underestimated, mocked, and ignored had transformed the crisis into opportunity. And the opportunity was not just survival. It was victory. Monica's next move was approaching, and Justin could feel the tension tightening around them like a noose. Every client call, every boardroom discussion, every investor email could tip the balance. And Arya had already anticipated the fallout. Arya's phone buzzed again, a message that made her lips tighten into a grim line. She read it, then turned to Justin, her face unreadable. Phase 5, she said softly, almost a whisper. She thinks she's learned the rules of the game, but she hasn't even seen the board yet. Justin's chest tightened. Phase 5. Arya nodded, her eyes sharp as steel. She'll try everything to regain control. But we've already set the trap. And when it snaps, she won't know what hit her. Outside the city moved on, unaware that a quiet, underestimated woman had turned the tables on one of the most ruthless corporate villains, using intelligence, strategy, and courage to protect the people she loved, and to ensure that those who betrayed trust would pay the ultimate price. Monica's empire was crumbling, but she didn't know yet. Arya had saved more than a company. She had saved integrity, trust, and the future. Justin looked at her, awestruck. I never believed someone could do this. For me, for us. Arya's hand rested on her stomach gently. It's not just for you. It's for anyone who's ever been silenced, dismissed, or underestimated. And for anyone who thinks the world owes them loyalty, it doesn't. You earn it, or you lose it. Monica's next move loomed. And Justin realized fully that Arya was not just his wife. She was a force the world had never expected, And Monica was about to pay for every moment she had ever underestimated her. The city lights gleamed outside, but inside, Justin felt a cold truth settle. The battle was far from over, and Phase 5 was already in motion. Monica's desperation would collide with Arya's intelligence in ways no one could predict. Do you fight when everyone thinks you're powerless, or do you let them define your fate? Because sometimes, the quietest, most underestimated person can change everything in a single move. The courthouse doors slammed behind Justin and Arya, echoing down the marbled hall like a gavel of fate. The air was thick with tension, the faint murmur of reporters, spectators, and legal staff blending into a hum that made Justin's chest tighten. Arya's hand rested on his arm, steadying him, but her eyes were sharp, alert, calculating. Justin swallowed hard. Are you sure about this? The courtroom. The media. All of it. Arya's gaze swept the room. Every word, every move, every piece of evidence is accounted for. Monica wants this to be about power and manipulation. We're going to make it about truth, consequences, and integrity. And she won't know what hit her until it's too late. The judge called the session to order. Monica's entrance was a study in contrived composure, her heels clicking sharply against the polished floor, every gesture screaming forced control. The press swarmed, cameras flashing, capturing every detail. She shot a glance at Justin, smirking, but the smirk faltered when her eyes landed on Arya. You, Monica hissed under her breath, you think you can humiliate me in my own courtroom? Arya leaned slightly toward Justin. Watch and learn. The truth doesn't need arrogance, it speaks for itself. Monica's lawyer began with an opening statement, twisting words, insinuating deceit, painting Justin as naive, gullible, manipulated by a clever but immature woman. The courtroom felt like it tilted, the pressure suffocating, Justin's palms sweating. But Arya stood when the judge called for her evidence. She laid out the hidden ledger, meticulously catalogued, every document, every financial anomaly, every attempted bribe, all clearly time-stamped. Investors, partners, and regulatory communications were stacked neatly, undeniable. Justin felt a wave of awe and fear. She had anticipated every claim, every counterpoint Monica could possibly throw. And then Arya began to speak, her voice calm, controlled, yet piercingly direct. Your Honor, this isn't about manipulation. It's about accountability. It's about protecting the integrity of a company, the trust of employees, and the financial security of countless people who had no idea they were pawns in Monica Langley's schemes. The courtroom murmured. Monica's eyes widened. Her carefully curated image of untouchable superiority faltered under the weight of Arya's calm authority. Arya paused, letting her words sink in. Justin's only crime was trusting people he thought he loved. Monica exploited that trust, attempted to manipulate markets, hide transactions, and sabotage his future, all for her personal gain. And she underestimated one thing: the people who care about truth, and the ones willing to fight for it. Justin's throat tightened. He looked at her, 9 months pregnant, composed, brilliant, unstoppable. She was not just defending them, she was rewriting the narrative, turning every insult and mockery Monica had thrown at her back onto the villain herself. Monica's lawyer tried to interrupt, but the judge raised a hand. Arya's evidence was overwhelming, the ledger indisputable. The courtroom leaned in as the scale of Monica's misdeeds became public. Every investor she had tried to manipulate, every partner she had coerced, every unethical maneuver meticulously documented. The media outside were already live-streaming. Tweets flew. Stock fluctuations mirrored the panic of the elite circles Monica had thought untouchable. She fumbled, trying to maintain control, but every attempt crumbled under Arya's precision. Arya's final words were quiet but lethal. Underestimating someone because of their appearance, because they are overlooked, or because they are expected to be powerless, this is where the truly dangerous mistakes are made. I am not powerless. And neither are the people who choose to act with integrity. Justin felt his heart pound. The room was silent for a breath before Monica's composure broke. She had no prepared statement for this, no smokescreen, no lawyerly dodge, No media spin that could save her. The judge leaned forward, reading through the evidence, every clause of the ledger presented like a hammer striking repeatedly. The courtroom felt like it was holding its breath. Monica's empire of influence, carefully constructed over years, teetered on the edge of ruin. Then the twist hit like lightning. A video feed arrived from Monica's own assistant, leaked anonymously but authenticated by the SEC, recordings of Monica conspiring to bribe a whistleblower, trying to manipulate Justin into signing contracts she had prearranged behind the scenes. The courtroom erupted in shock. Monica's smirk vanished entirely. Justin's chest tightened. The betrayal, the arrogance, the mockery, everything Monica had counted on now crumbled publicly. Arya squeezed his arm gently. This is for anyone who's ever been dismissed, underestimated, or made to feel invisible. You can fight back. You can protect what matters. And you can win. Monica tried one last desperate move, lunging toward a document to reclaim control, but the judge immediately had security intervene. Cameras captured it all. Every attempt to regain authority was a spectacle of panic, fear, and failure. Monica's lawyer whispered something frantically, pointing at the courtroom door. The judge paused, the room still, and then a messenger arrived with a sealed envelope marked SEC Emergency Action. Immediate sanctions pending. Arya's eyes narrowed. She just triggered the next level. And this time, it's going to affect everything she has left. Her assets, her reputation, and every person she thought she could control. Justin swallowed hard. He realized fully that Arya had saved him, his child, and their legacy, but the final confrontation with Monica was far from over. The villain he had once tolerated was about to face consequences she had never imagined, and the courtroom would become the arena for her ultimate downfall. Monica's next move was coming. And Justin realized with chilling clarity. The game had only just entered its final, explosive phase. Do you fight for the truth, even when everyone else thinks you can't? Because the stakes have never been higher, and failure is no longer an option. Justin sat in the quiet of their penthouse, the city lights painting the walls in gold and silver, but the glow felt hollow. Arya rested her hand on her stomach, reading the final court documents that confirmed Monica's empire had collapsed under regulatory scrutiny. The battle was won, but the scars lingered. Justin had finally realized the truth. He had underestimated her, ignored her warnings, and almost destroyed everything. He approached her cautiously. Arya, I need to say something. Her eyes didn't look up from the documents. Go on. Justin swallowed. I was wrong. I ignored you. I mocked you. I let her manipulate everything because I thought you didn't understand the world I live in. But you saw it. You knew. And I took your love and intelligence for granted. Arya finally looked at him, her gaze steady and sharp. You did. And it cost us everything. I told you, Justin. I warned you. You didn't listen. And I protected you anyway. He knelt in front of her, desperation in his eyes. I'm sorry. I know words aren't enough. I don't expect forgiveness, but I need you to know I see you. I see your strength. I see your courage. And I want to make it right. A shadow passed over her face. She paused, then spoke softly. Justin, I forgive you. I forgive you because holding on to anger won't protect our child or myself. Forgiveness is a gift I give, not because you deserve it, but because I choose to. Justin's chest tightened. Relief, guilt, and love all collided. Arya, you don't know how much that means to me. She shook her head slightly, a subtle but firm boundary in her expression. It means you finally understand what it feels like to be invisible, underestimated, dismissed. And you finally understand that love isn't ownership. It's respect, trust, and protection. I forgive you, Justin, but this doesn't mean we're going back to how things were. Trust must be rebuilt, step by step. And some things can't be taken back. He nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. I understand. And I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust, every single day. The tension in the room was thick, but there was an undercurrent of relief. Arya had saved Justin, their company, and now their personal lives. But she had also reminded him of a hard truth. Love can be life-saving, but it cannot be forced. It must be nurtured, respected, and never taken for granted. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. Arya glanced at it, her brow furrowing. She handed it to Justin. It's a message from Monica's legal team. They're offering a last-minute settlement, and they're threatening to expose personal information about me if we refuse. Justin read it and felt a chill run down his spine. Monica wasn't finished. Even humiliated and defeated, she was attempting one final strike, trying to manipulate them again. Arya's lips curved faintly. We anticipated this. The documents, the recordings, they're bulletproof. But now, we need to decide how to respond publicly. This is the final act of her desperation. Justin's hands clenched the phone. I don't want to fight anymore. Not like this. Not ever again. Arya smiled faintly, a mixture of exhaustion and determination. This isn't about fighting, Justin. This is about setting boundaries, protecting what matters, and showing the world that manipulation, betrayal, and cruelty have consequences. And that sometimes, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means moving forward smarter, stronger, and safer. A live news alert flashed across the television. Monica had just held an emergency press conference, claiming she had evidence of corruption against Justin and Arya. Evidence that was entirely fabricated, but sensational enough to potentially sway public opinion. Justin's pulse raced. She's trying to destroy you, us. Even after everything? Arya nodded, her hand tightening over her stomach. Yes. But this time, we're ready. We've anticipated every lie, every twist, every smear. And we'll respond in a way she can't anticipate. A way that will protect our future and expose the truth. Forgiveness does not erase boundaries. Respect your strength, protect what matters, and never let those who betray you dictate your life. Monica's desperation was escalating, her final move imminent. And Justin realized fully, Arya had not just saved their lives and company. She had defined the rules now, showing that courage, intelligence, and clear boundaries can triumph over manipulation and deceit. But the final showdown, the one that would seal Monica's fate, was only just beginning. Because Arya had chosen the first path, and the consequences would be unforgettable. The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic and rain from the storm outside. Justin hovered near the sliding doors, hands stuffed in his pockets, heart hammering like a warning bell. Arya was inside, gripping the nurse's hand, breathing through the contractions that had come fast and furious. 9 months of fear, tension, and battles, corporate, personal, emotional, had led to this. She's coming, the nurse said, voice gentle but urgent. Stay right here. Justin nodded, sweat prickling his temples. He had apologized, begged forgiveness, tried to prove himself worthy, but he had also learned that love could not be demanded. Arya had given him trust and respect back in fragments, teaching him the hard lesson that actions spoke louder than words. And now, they were about to be tested in a way he hadn't anticipated. The first cries of their child pierced the air, pure and piercing. Justin felt something inside him shatter and rebuild simultaneously. He barely remembered breathing as the nurse handed him a small, wriggling bundle wrapped in a soft blanket. Arya's face was radiant, pale but fierce, the exhaustion and triumph of survival etched into every line. She's beautiful, Justin whispered, tears stinging his eyes. She's perfect. Arya smiled, a mixture of relief and strength. She is. And she's ours, yours, mine, and she's going to grow up knowing that courage and intelligence matter more than wealth, power, or manipulation. Justin held the baby, feeling the fragile weight of life in his hands. And for a moment, he allowed himself to hope that everything could finally be right. But then Arya's expression shifted, soft but firm, eyes meeting his with clarity he could not escape. Justin, we've been through hell together, But love isn't about survival alone. It's about respect, partnership, and honesty. I forgave you. I protected you. I saved you. But I cannot, will not, go back to a marriage where my voice is ignored and my instincts doubted. Justin's chest tightened. You're saying what? She shook her head gently. I'm saying I forgive you. I love our child. I care about our family. But our marriage, it's over. You will always be a part of our lives, but not as the man who took my courage for granted. The weight of her words hit like a thunderclap. Justin felt every misstep, every failure, every moment he had underestimated her, crush him. But he also knew she was right. He had lost the chance to be fully trusted, fully seen. Arya pressed the baby's tiny hand into his. You can be a father, a protector, a part of her life. But don't mistake that for a second chance at the marriage that ended when you doubted the woman you claimed to love. Justin swallowed hard, the raw truth sinking deep. I understand. I'll do better. For her. You must, Arya said softly. Because she deserves better than the mistakes of her father. And you have to live with the consequences of yours. Outside, the storm had passed, leaving the city wet and glistening, reflective. It mirrored the journey they had survived, chaotic, painful, but leaving clarity in its wake. Justin finally understood the full circle. He had been given forgiveness but not entitlement. And for the first time he saw that life was about choices, courage, and consequences. Not just love and desire. A phone buzzed in Arya's bag. A news alert. Monica Langley had been arrested that morning, facing federal charges for fraud, bribery, and market manipulation. Her empire of arrogance, cruelty, and deceit was finally dismantled. The woman who had mocked, manipulated, and tried to destroy them was no longer a threat, but her consequences would echo forever. Arya looked down at their newborn, rocking her gently. She's born into a world where truth, intelligence, and courage matter. And we'll make sure she knows it. Justin swallowed, eyes on his daughter. I lost the chance to be with you, Arya. But I won't lose the chance to be a father. I promise. Arya's smile was soft, unyielding. Then honor that. That's your redemption. And that's the lesson. Life will give you chances, but some are only for learning, not for undoing mistakes. Never take someone's courage, love, or intelligence for granted. Forgiveness can heal, but it doesn't erase accountability. Respect, honor, and action matter more than words. As they held their child together, Justin realized he had survived the battle of love, betrayal, and corporate warfare, but only by witnessing the strength of a woman he had once underestimated. Arya's bravery had saved them, shaped them, and ensured the next generation would inherit lessons of courage, integrity, and wisdom. Some victories are silent, some are loud. Some lessons are harsh, and some are life-saving. And sometimes, the smallest voice, the one everyone underestimates, can change everything. The world will watch as courage and intelligence triumph over arrogance, betrayal, and manipulation. Do you honor those who fight for truth, protect the innocent, and refuse to be silenced, even when you are tempted to? Because Arya did. And she changed everything.